She's an expert on online disinformation. She was formerly in the Wilson Center's She was formerly a disinformation fellow at the Wilson Center. Any hiring decisions are up to the Department of Homeland Security, but this is a person with extensive qualifications.
To be famous and powerful, Santa, if you're listening, please tell me what to do. Who do I fuck to be famous and powerful?
All right, guys, so that is Biden's Minister of Truth, aka the director of Biden's Disinformation Governance Board, which, again, I can't really believe that we're talking about this, right? That the government has a Disinformation Governance Board, okay? We have reached Orwellian dystopian levels in our government, okay? But hey, you know what? We shouldn't be surprised by the Democrat Party showing their authoritarian tendencies, right? I mean, they are literally the party of fascism. But with that being said, to answer Biden's disinformation chief's question about who does she F in order to be rich, famous, and powerful, she should probably ask the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, because I'm pretty sure she's an expert in that.
Long before she met Doug Emhoff, she dated some prominent men, including in 2001, former talk show host Montel Williams. Back then, he was the famous one and had to introduce her to the paparazzi.
Okay, because she has effed a lot of rich, famous, and powerful people to get where she's at. Yeah, so with that being said, we're actually going to talk about Kamala, as Biden's disinformation chief apparently believes that online mockery of Kamala is a threat to democracy and national security. So, yeah, I mean, with the more information that is coming out about this woman, it is clear that they appointed a radical to the most radical government initiative I've ever seen in my life, which, again, tells you how far gone the Democrat Party is. They are the party of extremists. So I want to read about this because this is important, because now the slippery slope is no longer a slope. I mean, it's a cliff, right? We've fallen off a cliff, and I'm not liking the direction that this is going in. So let's read here. President Biden's new disinformation chief, Nina Jankowicz, argued online mockery of Vice President Kamala Harris and other women in public life was a threat to national security. Quote, platforms and governments aren't doing enough, she wrote on social media. It's time to act. Our national security and democracy are at stake. The Department of Homeland Security announced the creation of the new Disinformation Governance Board led by Jankowicz on Wednesday. Jankowicz argued that Congress should create new laws to block mockery of women online, citing the volume of gender disinformation used to criticize Harris. Quote, Congress should reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act and include provisions against online gender-based harassment, Jankowicz wrote in a Wired article highlighting the abusive content sent on social media to women in public life. So, boo-hoo, people online say mean things about women, so therefore we have to ban them, we have to censor them, we have to use the government against them. The fact that Biden or Mariakis, whoever appointed this woman, okay, the fact that she has these beliefs and they're appointing her to this radical new government initiative, again, shows you how far gone the Democrat Party is. They don't believe in free speech. They just don't. They don't believe in the Constitution. They don't like the Constitution. That's why they want to burn it and rewrite it, okay? They want to literally tear down the foundations of our country, okay? And again, we've fallen off the cliff, and we're fastly approaching a period where government officials can't be criticized, particularly Democrats can't be criticized, because this is funny. In the past, when Trump was in office, this woman was actually against this idea when Trump was railing against fake news. Take a look.
Thank you very much, Congressman. I totally understand your aversion to the idea that government would fight back against disinformation. In fact, you know, the use of that term has been basically the foundation to some very draconian fake news laws in places like Russia or even Singapore. I do not believe that government should be in that business either. And I'll get to some of the solutions in a second. But to address...
Yeah, so some of you guys may be asking, what what changed, right? How do you go from that to basically being a authoritarian that wants to limit free speech and doesn't want people to be able to criticize public figures, right? Politicians. Well, what happened was that Democrats got in office, right? And once Democrats get in office, hey, you know what? All the things that we didn't want under Trump, we now want for us because, we want to weaponize the government to go after people who criticize people that we like and to censor opinions that they don't like, okay? That's what's going on here. She says, for Wire, I wrote about the online gender abuse I experienced and the attacks we tracked against Kamala Harris, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and more. Platforms and governments aren't doing enough. It's time to act. Our national security and democracy are at stake. So I wonder if she cares about online harassment towards people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who accused Jim Acosta of harassing her the other day when he pulled up on her to ask her unsolicited questions.
Talk to you, but until then, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Let me ask you this.
No, I don't want to. If you don't know, we're done.
Subpoenaed to
Stop
testify by the
harassing me.
January
Stop
6th
harassing me.
If you're
Stop
subpoenaed to
harassing me.
testify by the
I'm not
January 6th committee-
subpoenaed. Stop harassing me.
I know, but if you are, will you comply with that subpoena? Will you testify?
Stop harassing me.
I'm just trying to ask you some questions.
You're not. I didn't give you permission to. Leave me alone.
Right? Does she care about that? Does she care about the harassment towards people like Lauren Boebert? Right? Women like them receive harassment all the time online, but they're never the subject of some of these pieces that are being written when we're talking about women being harassed online, because they only care about left-wing woke women being harassed. They don't care about women that don't go along with the narrative. Those women don't count. In fact, they're not women, right? According to the left. Evidenced by how they went after Amy Coney Barrett and basically tried to say she wasn't a woman because she didn't have the right views on abortion. Jankowicz was the author of a report examining the online mockery of Harris during the 2020 election and noted the vice president received a majority of derogatory online posts against women. Well, she was running for vice president, right? So she's probably going to be the most criticized woman in the country, considering how she is the most high-profile woman in the country. Again, she's running for vice presidency. Wow, but apparently that is hate and harassment towards women to the point where the government needs to censor people. In the article, Jankowicz outlined tech companies and government should work together using creativity and technological prowess to make a pariah of online misogyny, aka censor people they don't like, right? Censoring people who criticize public officials if they happen to be women or a part of some type of minority group, okay? Social media companies, she argued, should make the shift towards believing women, allowing them to identify and censor content. Jankowicz also called for tech companies to stop a tactic pile on instruction from influential people with a lot of online followers. Let's protect the celebrities and the politicians, right? That's what she's saying. Jankowicz said online mockery of women was a threat to democracy, warning that gender disinformation could prevent women from running for office. Yeah, so let's remember that term gender disinformation here, right? Keep that term in mind, okay? We're going somewhere with this. In September 2021, Jankowicz testified about gender misinformation being a threat to democracy in the British House of Parliament. She cited Harris as an example. Quote, I think of the little girls who were so happy on Inauguration Day seeing our first female vice president inaugurated, and for those of them who are online looking at the responses to tweets or Vice President Harris's Instagram posts where people called the Biden-Harris administration show and the hoe. Or worse. There's much worse, alleging that Vice President Harris slept her way to the top. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. The preponderance of the evidence suggests that she did, because she's clearly in over her head when it comes to her job. She's not qualified. Man, she was dating a 60-year-old man, and then she was dating Montel Williams. I mean, I'm just saying, this is the same person that is complaining about people accusing Kamala sleeping her way to the top, that sung a song about who does she need to F in order to become rich, famous, and powerful. You would think she would know all about that, right? During her testimony, she argued that gender misinformation was also a national security concern. Quote, it's not just a democratic concern, it is a national security concern, which should make it of interest to everybody in the government, she said. It's not just about hurt feelings, it really affects the way our countries operate. No, it's about your feelings. That's what it's about. Jankowicz cited online mockery of other political women, including Representative Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Gretchen Whitmer, to solidify her argument. Again, no mention of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boeberts, any conservative women that have been harassed. No mention of them. They don't count because they're not women, right? They don't have the right opinions, okay? If your opinion doesn't allow a Democrat Party, you're not a woman. Jankowicz routinely cited the volume of sexist content directed at her after she started publishing articles and books on the issue as an example of the dangers for women in public life. Quote, being a woman online is an inherently dangerous act, she argued in her testimony to Parliament. This is the long and short of it. Okay, well, don't be online then, right? If being a woman online is so dangerous, don't get online or don't be a woman, right? Since you guys can't define what a woman is, and apparently men can be women if they just believe they're women. Just, imagine yourself as a man, and then all of a sudden you're protected, right? You're protected online. So the same person that talks about the dangers of gender disinformation, she says it's a national security threat, believes that there are many non-binary people who can give birth, okay? So this person made some comments here about gender that suggests that she may be a national security threat, according to her own logic and arguments here. As she got called out for using what they call gender-neutral language when talking about pregnancy. And she says, although I've gotten comments about my use of pregnant people throughout the piece, as well as my call out of an internet built for and by cisgender white men, first, it was important to me to make sure that this piece was inclusive. There are many non-binary people who give birth. Well, I mean, look, I don't know about the whole non-binary stuff, but only women, biological women, can give birth. Okay, it's really that simple. It's really that simple. Somebody responded, says, you lost me here. Only biological women give birth, but sure, lean into trending ideology for clicks. Then she responds and says, it's not about leaning into trending ideology for clicks. I have non-binary friends who have born children. Are any of those non-binary friends, are they not women? Right? I'm pretty sure all of them are biologically women. Okay? I'm pretty sure they are. Beyond my own personal experience, there are plenty of doctors and other healthcare professionals who recommend the use of inclusive language. ACOG does as well. Then she goes on and says, society benefits when pregnant people are treated better and empowered, not lied to and manipulated. So she says that pregnancy is a societal issue, not a woman's issue. Well, I would argue that it's actually both. Yes, pregnancy is a societal issue. We should worry about pregnancy as a society, but it's also a women's issue because only women can get pregnant. But again, this person says that if you spread disinformation about gender, then you're a national security threat, right? This is what this person says. But she's bought into the woke ideology of the left when it comes to gender, which goes to show you that the minister of truth here doesn't actually believe in truth, because wokeness and truth are antithetical to each other, okay? That's the reality of the situation, okay? So with that being said, I think that this right here, guys, scares me a lot in regards to this whole governance disinformation board thing, and the fact that they appointed a radical to lead this initiative that has these beliefs that entails basically censoring people from being able to criticize public officials because of their sex or because they're part of some type of minority group. Yeah, that's how you get to a government where they're censoring people from criticizing politicians, period. For criticizing the party in power, period. Okay, that's how we get to China, right? We're on a one-way trip to communist China under the Democrats. So that being said, man, again, first thing Republicans got to do when they get back in power is get rid of this, okay? And if they don't get rid of this, then the Republican Party is absolutely useless and they're complicit in this authoritarian nonsense coming from the Democrats. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.